Do you all see this gross income senior datum? Good.
Yeah.
I'm reading it. The size and not the quality of an org's mailing list and the number of mailings and letters to it determines the gross income of an org. If this is not known as a senior datum to executive secretaries and kept in by them, their condition is treason. L. Ron Hubbard, founder. Now, this is a rather hard-hitting policy letter, but it's extremely workable. Now, the way I have applied this is I started collecting success stories from every person that I serviced. A PC would complete something or a student would complete a course. I would have them write a success story, and then I would put it on a blog, and I would start to accumulate a contact list of email addresses. Right now it's over 100. And every time I get a new success story, I would send out that page of my blog to that mailing list. Well, that seems like a simple action, and it is very simple. It seems very popular. I generally get a lot of responses from people who have seen the latest success story. People like them. And I noticed that within a couple of weeks after I send out one of those, my income mysteriously increases. So I recommend that as a basic action for anybody, really any kind of business, but especially a field auditing practice. Keep in touch with all of your past clients. And a case point of this is that recently 2 former PCs contacted me wanting to get auditing and training again, having fallen off my line several years ago. Both of these people I had kept on my email list, and they had been receiving regular success stories. I send them out about every 2-3 weeks. I'm sure this action kept them inspired and prompted each of them to take action and contact me again. So it's very successful. Now, one last thing I want to cover as far as my recent actions is remote auditing. I have a couple of years ago, I decided to try this remote auditing thing, and it's amazing how well it works. Here, do you see this graphic here? It shows the
We
auditor.
don't see the graph. We just
Oh,
see desktop.
okay. Okay. Well, I can't display that, but you get the idea. It shows an auditor who's in New York City at night, and he has a screen and a meter display on his computer, and he's auditing a woman who's in Sydney, Australia. And anyway, this has become quite regular now with those of us doing remote auditing. Z can attest to this.
Yeah, I
I've just
can totally testify it works. Yeah, Randy has been auditing my son successfully on the grades. My son lives in East Grinstead, Sussex, actually. And
England. Yeah.
obviously, yeah, in England. Randy is in LA. They have been doing great, amazing wins, tone arm actions, anything and everything that you need and want from a proper auditing in-person session. It's doable and available. And I can actually also testify to that myself because Randy audited some of my UT stuff, and
Hmm.
it's great. It's great. I actually by now prefer it more because there is so much convenience to it. You get auditing from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to organize bus and taxi and cab and flights and whatnots, and spend all that money and time. So I think it's fantastic.
Yes, that's great. So over the last few years, I've been able to audit people in England, Germany, Taiwan, Canada, and several states in the United States, each of us in the comfort of our own homes. And uh, I hope this gives you some actions that you can find as successful as I have. And that's the end of my talk there. So Mary, should we open it up to any questions briefly there?
Yes, does anyone have any questions? We can type them into the chat as we go, which is fine, and we'll pick them up at the end of each talk. Or at this moment, if you have anybody
Yeah.
got any questions?
Trey made it.
Yes,
Trey's
Trey's
here.
here. Trey
Hey,
Lodge.
Trey. Hello,
Woo.
Trey. Welcome.
Actually, if there are no questions, let's just go ahead. Randy, you choose who speaks next, okay?
Okay. Jerry, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
So, I started by simply auditing my mother. So when I went clear, I did my training with Randy after that. And after I had my first solo auditors training, I just told my mom, I have these simple techniques and I can audit you. And she was hesitant at first, but with some persuasion, I got to audit her.
And this was
Oh,
probably back in Stockholm, Sweden, right?
yeah, back in
Right.
Stockholm.
Yeah.
And so I would, we were living separately at that time, and so I would bike over to her house, give her a session, and then bike my way back home, like a couple times a week. And I did my level 0, and then I did grade 0 on her. That was fun. And then I offered to help somebody else study for free. And there was another guy who wanted help with something, and I just offered this help that I actually could help with, even though I knew I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as Trey or Randy. I thought, well, I can always help. And so it started the whole spiral of helping, because these people that were helping for free started telling me, this is so helpful, I'd like to pay you something.
Mm.
And so then got a little there, and then they recommended somebody else. And then now that I'm charging, I can start charging. And then they recommend somebody else, and then you just charge a little more. And then when you're too busy, you have to say, okay, gotta start charging maybe a little higher, so not everybody goes and just wants help. But in my opinion, the most important thing is to get started and doing something. Like the simplest thing you can do is self-analysis, or just listen to people's problems. You can even walk in your neighborhood and just say, hi, I'm just learning how to be a therapist, or whatever word you want to say. Could I just come to you on an afternoon and have you tell me your problems or tell me about your past? And if you suggest that for free, most likely somebody will say, well, yeah, sure. And when you get rolling and started, you start gaining confidence that you can actually help. And other people will see that you're spending time helping, or you're putting in time or effort to actually at least attempt to help somebody. And just that fact, in my opinion, is the biggest thing. Because then when you're started and people consider you as a person who's helping, they're all of a sudden you are. And so you are an auditor when you're helping somebody, whether you're doing it for free or not, using auditing then, of course. Let's see, what were some of my other notes? Yeah, friends, people at your job, in the neighborhoods, or family. Those are all great people to start with. Get very basic, simple training. Oh yeah, in my opinion too, this is the way it works with everything. Like any startup or any new business, they just start doing something. They might have one little product that they ship out to people, or ask people to test it out or try it. But they don't usually make money that much in the beginning, and they don't usually know all their way around it, because part of knowing how to do it is just practice. And so to think that you could just be a great auditor from the start, or, oh, well, if I make sure I have all the training necessary before I start, you're still not going to be that great if you haven't practiced. Part of the training is actually applying and practicing on real people. My last point is, if you have charge on helping people, if you are afraid of hurting them, or just any general charge or reason why you don't want to help somebody, or fear, then you can get auditing yourself. Auditing is great for handling that fear. And when you don't have that fear anymore, you might not have the excuse. And so you can just
Point, Jerry.
start.
Good point.
Very
Yeah, that's
good,
all for
Jerry.
me. Thank
That's
you.
great. Very good. So anybody have any questions for Jerry? If you'd like to raise your hand, we can unmute you if you want to ask something. Okay, well, thanks very much, Jerry.
Tony raised his hand.
Oh, I didn't see that. Tony, great. You can
Yeah, now can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I made a note or two because I always forget things faster than I could. Yeah, anyway. One of the things that I was noticing is it's okay to make mistakes when auditing. I finally got through that after years and years of terror. What if I make a mistake? And I was reading all the issues about, you'll be sent to the dungeon and hell and all that, which it didn't say. It was cramming was
different lifetime, Tony.
yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, and I
Uh,
didn't really get it until now that cramming is fun, okay, and you're going over things that, because we want to go at maximum speed and not take 3 lifetimes to get this technology down, well, make mistakes, and there's always ways to handle it. There's a correction list, there's in session, there's like people like Randy and Trey and this wonderful gentleman here. I just went blank. Sorry.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Great. Thank you.
To hear you,
Great.
Tony.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Great. Okay, let's
Now let
hear.
Trey talk.
Yes.
Trey's turn. We can't hear you, Trey, but it might be unmuted soon.
Are you unmuted now,
Yeah,
Trey?
I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Go ahead.
Well, I got started as a field auditor in 1970. I got in Scientology in 1969, and within a year I'd done academy levels and the briefing course and the standard Dianetics course. And I was living over across from the AO, and I'd been volunteer auditing at the org, because at that time they, if you just wanted to go in and handle some people, you could do that. So I was getting some practice, and I was living across from the AO, and this guy knocked on my door, and he said, "Look, can you audit my girlfriend? Please audit my girlfriend." So I said, "Oh, okay." And at that time, auditing was like $50 an hour, and if you bought a package, it was like $35 an hour. So it's very affordable for people. And I said, okay, and you could also audit on credit at that time. And I said, he said, well, pay you $25 a week, and you can audit my girlfriend. And I said, okay. And then she knew somebody who worked down the street. They came over and wanted to do the same thing. So I said, okay. So my rent was $45 a month at that time. And my income was $50 a week. So I'm a field auditor. At that time, there were literally no other field auditors in Los Angeles. It had just Sandhill had just gotten started here on the upper levels. Los Angeles has always had the LA org ever since 1950, but we didn't get Celebrity Center or AO or ASHO until 68, and I came out there in 69. So it was still a pretty small community. Everybody knew everybody, really. A lot of people have been around for a long time. So, but within 2-3 years, we started a field auditors group. There were like 25, 30 field auditors in LA, and not a lot of them were doing a lot, but some were, and there was a whole thriving scene. But and so, you know, what the way Randy and Jerry have mentioned how they got started, that's exactly how to do it. That's great advice. Well, I was also wanted to talk about something I was thinking about recently, and has to do with the benefit to the auditor of being an auditor, and indirectly how that benefits others, as well as directly benefiting others through auditing them. But I was talking to one of my PCs the other day, and he'd been an auditor in HCG for several years, but it had been a long time. He hadn't done any auditing since then. And he said, you know, the best beingness I ever had was the beingness of an auditor. And then he started elaborating on that and saying about how easily and well he was able to handle life and people. And it got me to thinking. I always knew there was something very special and unique about auditor training. And I started to see what that was. I think of LRH's dictum that, you know, an auditor is somebody 3 feet behind society's head, or Scientologists are 3 feet behind people's head. And I think that describes, that describes being an auditor. And he also said that if you apply the auditor tech in life, things will go very well for you. And I've come to find that that was true. The things you run into in session are the same things you run into in life, like negativity, counterintention, end theta, misemotion, all the other manifestations of case. And people usually react to these things because the tolerance of it is fairly low. And when they react to it, they withdraw, they get misemotional themselves, they attack, they not is. All of these things are unusual solutions. And in general, they just make the problem worse, or at least don't solve the problem. In other words, people find it difficult to stay pan-determined, exterior, and at the same time be engaged and effective. And otherwise, you get sucked into games conditions with PCs, which is bad, and or people. It's a no-win game. Anyway, auditor training teaches you how to be pan-determined and effective in handling all of these elements of life that people always run into. A lot of this goes back to the definition of sanity. I often go back to this. A tolerance of confusion and agreed upon stable datum on which to align the data in a confusion are at once necessary for a sane reaction on the 8 dynamics. And the really important part of that is it starts with the ability to tolerate a situation, an emotion or an action, which is what TRs are, you know, to be there comfortably. If you can be there comfortably with what's going on, you can have a sane reaction. And the sane reaction is a lot of times based on just a knowledge of tech, basic knowledge of tech, you know, completing cycles of action, keeping your ethics in, you know, keeping your agreements, you know, just real basic stuff. So when you when you get trained on TRs, you greatly increase your tolerance of confusion because there's a lot more things you can be there comfortably with. And then as you're auditing PCs and you gain confidence in your ability to handle these things, you're a lot less likely to fall back on other unusual solutions that maybe you'd used in the past. So, you can have the same responses in life as you do in session. And if people are going to respond positively at all, they're going to respond to that more than anything else. And the only people that don't respond positively to that are the very small 2.5%ers, or your people that are really have bad intentions, because that is an effort to pull them out of their games condition with life, and they resist it. So they would resist your beingness as an auditor, or whatever, however they would handle it. So when you get trained as an auditor and when you get practice, you become solution oriented and non-confrontational in how you do it. In other words, you can maintain an exterior viewpoint while at the same time being effective and being engaged in what is going on. And the more you understand the mechanisms of the mind and policy and ethics, you know a lot better how to handle situations in life. And because your TRs are in on life, you can implement these solutions a lot more easily. And you find as you go along and you get success doing that, then a lot of these bad habits that people develop on how to handle life, a lot of that stuff just falls away. So, the auditor's code, knowing the basics, ARC, the more you apply that, auditor's code and TRs in life, the better things get. So it enables somebody to be to benefit broadly their dynamics, and self is included in that benefit. There's no need to be out exchange with the dynamics or to have the dynamics be out exchange with you. And when you're pan determined and you're interacting positively with life, that's what's happening. So you could say that auditor training trains you into an enlightened and harmonious relationship with others and the environment in session and in life. And the more you learn, the more tech you study, the more you actually apply that in life and in session, the better life gets. So that's why everybody should be an auditor.
So
Love that,
true,
Trey.
Trey. Yeah,
Very good, Trey.
Thank you.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
Great.
awesome, Trey.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Trey? Raise your hands if you like, and we can unmute you. Okay, very good.
I've apparently answered all questions every day.
Yeah.
All
We're still
time.
pondering. We're still
Yeah.
pondering on all the good information you gave us, Trey.
Thank you.
Still digesting it.
Hey, Z, would you like
I
to
love-
go
Yeah,
next?
sure.
Oh, sorry.
Hi,
Jerry.
guys.
May I say
I'm Z.
something?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I love the part that Trey said where it's like you're helping, but from an outside point of view or an
Perspective.
outside source. Very, very cool. I haven't thought of it that way, but it's very true.
Yay, very good.
Okay, go ahead, Z. Sorry.
Yeah, as a
That's good.
source, you can connect with the source in the other.
Yes. Okay,
All right.
Z, go ahead.
Yeah, so hi, everyone. I'm Z. I started Scientology in 1988. So I read the book, Dianetics, and I really, really loved what you were talking about, Trey, the beingness of an auditor. I think more than becoming or wanting to be a clear, I really wanted to be an auditor. So I was only 18 years old, and I was thinking that maybe you had to be like old and have this holy, presence about you with a long white beard. And I was like, okay, I'm too young to be an auditor, but it's really good. So when I went to the org, and they were like, no, you don't have to have a long white beard. You can be an auditor now, even as 18 years old. So I started, and I was in Germany. I did a book. I became a book one auditor and audited quite a while. I absolutely loved it. And then later on, I joined staff and I continued to be trained. I became a class 5 graduate auditor. Later on, like about 10 years later, I was a field auditor and audited thousands of hours, made many clears. I traveled the world. I paid for my own bridge with that, went all the way up to OT8. And we know that within the Church of Scientology, it's not as affordable as it is out here. So obviously I was very successful in what I was doing. And I think my successful action as an auditor is almost identical to what Trey said, to what Jerry said. You have to start. Once you start and you're there for your PCs, you have the good intentions in your heart that you want to help another person, people kind of line up because they kind of feel your energy. They know that you're there to help them. So I couldn't kind of save myself from PCs at some point. Yeah, it's just, I had the passion for it. And of course you have to, become trained and make sure that you audit standardly. These are the basic things that, of course, I was keeping in. But it really begins with the point that you just have to start. As Jerry mentioned too, he was auditing his mom. It's absolutely amazing. And a lot in the beginning, that's what I did too. I started auditing my family and my friends for free. And just like that, more and more clients came to my door and wanted help. So I think that's one of the major things that I wanted to say. But I also wanted to read a reference from LRH, what he thinks about auditors. He says, I think of an auditor as a person with enough guts to do something about it. This quality is rare, and this quality is courageous in the extreme. So now this part, the next part applies to you guys, not to me so much. It is my opinion and knowledge that auditors among the upper 10th of the upper 20th of intelligent human beings, their will to do, their motives, their ability to grasp and to use are superior to that of any other profession. And I think that's very valid. That's very, it's just, that's how he thinks about auditors. And just to sum it up, for me, it was just the point of just starting.
Very good.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent, Z. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Great. Any questions for Z? Raise your hand if you'd like. Great. Well,
I just wanted to add one more thing, actually. Obviously, when I was auditing within the field, and when I was still part of the Church of Scientology, I was auditing in person. So just recently, I've started auditing online. I was a little bit suspicious in the beginning. I was a little nervous about it. But Randy helped me and to kind of find my way around the technology part of it. And it's incredible. There is literally no difference. You get the same amount of tone arm action, which just shows case gain on the side of the pre-clear. You see the great indicators. They have the same exact end phenomena and gains that when I compare it to what I audited before. So there's no difference. The only difference is actually a positive difference, which there is, you know, you don't have to travel, you don't have to, you know, you can get audited from the comfort of your own place. You don't have to spend time and money and basically waste time and money and all of the logistic parts of the auditing. And the technical part is just as good as in person. So that's another thing I just wanted to add.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
We just had a question from an attendee who wondered, how much does it cost to get trained? Anyone?
May I answer that question?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Jerry.
So essentially it's free because the
True.
books are out there. And to get trained on self-analysis, for example, you just read the book. Or to get trained on auditing Dianetics on people, you just read the book too. And as long as you understand what you're reading, it's free. The courses are out there too, and you can do those by yourself too. Of course, it's good to have somebody help you train you, but if you, in my opinion, if you really, really want it, it's free.
Yeah, if I can add something to that, maybe Randy, you can say a little more about that. Of course, at some point, Jerry, you're totally right. But I think at some point you will need some help and some drilling and some coaching, and that's available. But compared, again, I'm sorry that I keep bringing that, but compared to the Church of Scientology, it's next to nothing. You know, you become trained by highly trained auditors and CSs or case supervisors, as Trey or as I believe, Randy, you're doing that too, correct?
And
Maybe you
Jerry,
can say a little bit. Jerry, you
I'm
do
doing
that
it
too, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, what I do, for example, I train people on the academy level courses. I give them the course pack at no charge. It's like a large PDF file, and it has all the issues and all the books, and even has a tech dictionary included in the file. And we would meet online maybe twice a week, like a call like this. And I would say, okay, read the next 2 policy letters or bulletins, and I will check you out next time we talk. And they do that. And the next time we talk, I give them a checkout. They can even do demos and clay demos and take photographs or videos of the demo and email it to me, and I can check out their demos. We can even coach e-meter drills with this remote theta meter capability. So there's really quite a lot of training, coaching and supervision available too in that way. And it's quite affordable. I charge, I think, $60 an hour for my time. And I would spend typically about an hour a week with a person as they're going through a course. So it's not horribly expensive.
And Trey, maybe at this point, we can also talk a little bit about the online academy, Michael Salhovich, which is in works and will be, you know, released at some point, hopefully soon.
Yes. I think Ingrid may know the most about how that is going. Ingrid, would you like to chime in on that?
Just make sure you unmute yourself, Ingrid.
Do it. So now.
Yes,
Okay, that's
we
great.
hear you.
Yes, Michael is working on this, and he's talking about the beginning of April, which is actually today, isn't it?
Yes.
As you know, when he started preparing everything and getting his website going, or getting, you know, loading the courses up again and so on. I want to tell you just a little bit, because not everybody of you knows this. We got in touch with Michael Salihovic, who used to have an academy online. And then for a while, it just didn't run so well, and there were some reasons why. And then when our OT association was founded, we got this little plan of projects, and, you know, actually we have an admin scale project of what we want to do. And we said, well, look, there's Michael Salihovic. And he has been so good before. He has he's a very experienced auditor and also course supervisor. And he was doing such a great job before. So we said, well, let's help him, let's support him. So we got in touch with him, and he was so happy that we supported him in some ways. And then one day we sat together, we had a whole little meeting just for Michael and for this project, and we talked about things. And he really liked some of the suggestions that Trey made and some others of us, and started working on that. And within, I think it was a week or something like that, I heard from somebody else actually, Michael has gotten 9 new pieces. I mean, he had some like 3 or 2 at that time. And within a few days after getting together, all of us, and just, putting it there and getting all our postulates on it, Michael just, he got these 9 pieces out of the blue. There was one PC coming. She was so happy. She was so delighted to have found him. She brought all the other pieces in. So he's been doing this auditing a lot all the time. So this is why the progress with launching his website again has been a little bit slower. But as far as I know, it's going to be within the next 2 weeks, I'm quite sure. So then we have this wonderful academy online, and he's going to deliver also Div 6 courses, all kinds of Div 6 courses. He also delivers the levels, the upper training, and of course also delivers auditing. And when he delivers auditing, for example, Randy is his CS. So the CS for the auditing he delivers. And they also made it clear just some months ago and so on like that. Anyway, so that's all I want to say here about Michael. But we're going to have that soon online. Yeah.
You, Ingrid. Yes, that's great.
Very good, Ingrid. Yeah. Great. Sue Young, would you like to speak to us about?
Randy, if we could just hold for just a second here. We've
Yeah.
got a couple questions. Are you ready to entertain a couple questions?
Sure.
And it just reflects directly to the panel.
Yeah,
Let me bring up my chat here.
We may not be able to answer all of these questions. Okay.
Oh, well, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Let's toss a coin.
Okay. The first question we have here is, how many hours have Trey, Randy, and Jerry audited at this point? And Jerry answered in the chat, which is where you can put your questions, just send them to us.
Yeah.
If you want to be anonymous, send them to OTAIT and they will make sure your question gets seen. But Jerry said 4,000 hours. So I was just, and yeah, that's great. I was just amazed. But Trey and Randy, how about you guys? Just how many hours have you audited?
I don't know. I've never really estimated it. It must be over 50 to 100,000 for me.
Incredible.
That's a lot. Yeah, it adds up, doesn't it? It adds up.
You cleared a small size planet all by yourself.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. How about you, Trey? How about you, Trey? Let's see. Is he muted? No.
He's muted, yeah.
He's muted.
Oh, Trey, you're muted, honey.
Good.
How many hours have you audited, Trey?
Well, I actually keep track of it, and but I haven't added it up recently. In the last 3 weeks, I've done 90, 93, 94 hours, and since 1969, I did count over 65,000, and it's been several years since then. The lowest I've ever done is 900 hours, and the most is about 1,700 hours, which was a real
in a year?
tough year.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Hats off.
Wow.
Very
That's
good.
amazing.
Great.
It does. It adds up real fast.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And we have a comment here. Let's see. What was this? That was it. Okay. As I have started getting my auditing and my relationship with my auditor is like a family, our way of economics is a bit different. Let's see, like usual auditor, like per hour or per week pay. Let's see, I'm looking for a question here. As OT Association, one of the objectives is to expand the technology and help people get technology. Why not all top premium auditors give free auditing to at least 1 or 2 people in a year? This way, technology can expand and these people can further help same number of people. So it will be like a chain. It's just 2 people in a year, very small, but big impact. Oh, here's the summary question. How to get auditing for free and how to reach clear for free. Further, how to know you have reached clear. So there's 2 questions there. Okay, the panel, go ahead and take this one on. Thank you.
It's getting auditing for free. So what I did when I was just starting off, I just co-audited. I found a friend. We trained together. Obviously, I was on staff and trained, and this person, we helped him to get his training, and we just audited each other on up the grades, like objectives and all the other stuff. And it was such an incredible experience because you were learning while you were auditing somebody else, and you were getting, free. So it was just a great team. I enjoyed it so much. And then from my opinion, giving others auditing for free, I think it's okay to just get them started, help them with some grief counseling here and there. But I think it would make another person feel better if they exchange back to you while you keep on helping them. Give them that power too. So that's just my opinion, but I think there's also some references from Ron as far as exchange and all. So
Very good. Yes, I agree with that. Z. Yeah.
I agree with C too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
exchange is a really important concept in Scientology. If you receive something, you give something back in return, and it really doesn't matter as long as it's agreeable and one feels that one is in exchange for what's being offered. And we have professional people here, professional people who've been doing this their whole lives. So
I want to
but
mention
co-auditing
that
is awesome. I did co-auditing as well, and it's wonderful. But go ahead, Jerry. Go ahead.
I want to mention that the reason the training is or could be free is because you're the one putting in all the effort in learning and reading, whereas when you're getting auditing, there's another person there spending their time helping you. And so usually when somebody is there spending their time helping you, and if they are good, they would charge for that time or for that service. The other reason too, I think why top auditors don't train people for free is because they're busy enough with people helping them. Like Trey, for example, he's already too busy.
Yeah.
And so that would just add more busyness. That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I did that the other day. I was a neighbor who had an eye operation, and she said, "Oh, I was always curious. I thought you did movie editing down there," because she lives next door. She could see partly into the auditing room. I said, "No, yeah, come on over. We'll do a session." So we did a preparation session for her surgery, and now I've got her scheduled to come over for a Dianetic session to run out the incident. And she's looked at some videos and started to get really interested in the tech. So it's a win-win situation. Plus, I have an introductory package that's anybody working person can afford it, and then they could see whether they get enough out of it to make a commitment to doing it regularly. So that's part of what you can do. You can offer free service at some point without really creating any downside.
Very good. Okay.
Oh, okay. We are kind of on to the next part of our event today,
Yes.
which is we have some guest speakers, and this is very exciting. Some people have come to our attention. We have Klaus Weigel from well, originally from Germany, but I'll let him introduce himself. And then we have Sue Young, who is also an auditor. And I think, let's see, do we want to put the panel on mute or let the panel manage this, Rose? Or well, we'll just go ahead. Ingrid, oh,
Hi.
Peter, okay, bye-bye. Thank you for coming. You can check out the recording later, okay? All right.
All right. Now I am on the air. On the air.
And,
Okay. Hello, friends. My name is Klaus Weigel. I would
Hi.
like to introduce myself and our group here. Since my English is not so good, Ingrid will do it for me. I give.
okay. Okay. From 1986 to 2000, I was on staff as an auditor in the Scientology Church, Frankfurt. In 1988, I was in Flag for 1 year, and I did my auditor training up to class 4. And in 1991, I was in Hamburg for a year and trained up to class 5 graduate auditor. This training gave me the certainty to be able to deliver real good and standard auditing. From 1988 to 2000, I delivered approximately 35,000 well-done auditing hours and never had a working day without auditing. In 1993, I did my class 5 CS training in Los Angeles. Because I realized that the tech had been changed considerably, I left staff in 2000. And as a consequence, my wife and I officially left the church in 2010. After that, my wife Maria and I founded our first group in the independent field. And now we are the Advanced Scientology Group. I trained up to Solonaut CS mainly by myself by studying, drilling, and applying all the corresponding LIH data. Maria is on NOTS as a pre-OT now. She is Book 1 auditor, course supervisor, and just doing her Scientology auditor training. Since 2010, we have been delivering independently, and we have delivered approximately 100 completions of bridge steps. That is grades and OT levels up to Solomon. Half a year ago, we moved to Cyprus because here on Cyprus, we have found a space full of theta, which we had always been looking for, right in the middle of the countryside. We are in the process of expanding our group here. I just want to add, Cyprus is a very beautiful island, right? So I continue with what Klaus asked me to do. For next year, we are planning to start also delivering training in addition to auditing. Presently, we mainly deliver in German, but we are interested in also delivering in other languages, for example, with self-employed auditors who can deliver in English. Life as a field auditor, of course, is not that easy at the moment, but I would not want to do any other job. The wins that you help others to have and which you yourself are having cannot be compared to anything else. Here are some of my successful actions. Ron once wrote in a reference, I actually don't know exactly in which one, that a well-trained auditor always has enough pieces. Therefore, I mainly concentrate on expanding my knowledge constantly, and almost all of my time engage myself in Scientology. Another successful action, of course, never to get reasonable regarding the tech. So this was it. And now Klaus is going to tell a win, and I translate.
Okay. Natürlich habe ich als Auditor sehr viele Gewinne mit meinen PCs.
Of course, as an auditor, I have a lot of wins with my PC.
Mir ist letztens aber noch mal bewusst geworden, dass einer meiner Basic-Gewinne, welche jede Stufe betrifft,
But just lately, again, I realized again that one of my the basic important things is, which is for all the levels important,
ist eigentlich die Tech des Kontaktes ist.
actually is the tech of the contact assist.
Ich habe mit dem Kontaktassist wirklich Wunder bewirkt bei manchen Leuten.
I have really created miracles with this assist with some people.
Ich erinnere mich an ein Mädel, was ihr Knie komplett ausgekugelt hatte.
I remember a girl who had totally messed up her knee. It was totally the wrong way round
Ja, durch einen Sturz, durch Hinfallen.
by falling.
Und wir haben dann eine Stunde lang immer wieder den Sturz nachgespielt, bis das
And for
Knie
1 hour, Entschuldigung. And for 1 hour, we just, went over this falling down again and again in the assist.
und das Knie war wieder danach komplett in Ordnung.
And after the assist, at the end of the assist, the knee was totally in the right place again.
Und sie hatte vorher schon mal so eine Sache und musste 8 Monate im Krankenhaus deswegen liegen.
And before she had a problem like that, and she had to stay in the clinic for 8 months. Really.
Mhm. And 1 hour contact assist handle it.
So one, yeah, right.
Das habe ich in Englisch gesagt. That's basically.
Yes. Möchtest du noch einen Gewinn sagen oder ist das?
Im Moment habe ich jetzt nichts
Okay, that's the
organisiert.
That's when Klaus wanted to communicate.
That's great. Very well done.
So
Thank
that's
you very
all.
much.
Thanks, Klaus. Thanks, Klaus.
Thanks.
That's great. And we have next Sue Young. Sue Young, who's going to talk about how she got started as an auditor and her successful actions and maybe some wins too.
Thank you, Mary.
Sue? Yeah, you're welcome.
So I call myself a coach. I don't actually mention Scientology unless someone asks me, because I want to bring the tech to more people, even if they may have strange ideas about Scientology. So my successful actions have been to go to people I know who were leaders and offer either a free talk to their group, in which I include an offer of a free session to anyone who would like assistance with the subject of the talk. And I found that way I can use, there's so many basic things that we've learned in Scientology that are helpful to anyone that can be presented, that's new material for most people, and they immediately recognize the usefulness of it. So I've gained many clients just through offering a free first session. I found over half then continue. And another successful action is to simply offer a free session to people who are leaders. For instance, the head of a Buddhist community, and then he loved it and offered my services to his community. I had one client who was a consultant to startups, and he loved it. So I asked him to offer a free session for me to his clients who were CEOs of small companies. I gave them a free session. Some of them stayed, and then offered again the same thing to all of their employees. So you can grow, just some more ideas of ways to grow your practice. Also, I found the free talks recorded for groups. Sometimes people will reach out a year later and say, I saw your talk and I'd love to take you up on your free session, and then they stay. So some ideas for you. Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Very, very good. Yes.
That's great. That's just great. Thank you, Sue. Okay, at this point, we've listened to a lot of auditors and heard their ideas, and I'm wondering if there are any questions. If you'll type them into the chat, direct them to OTA IT if you really want to be under the radar. But we're almost ready to wrap this up.
Yeah. Could we share some wins, perhaps?
Absolutely. We're going to get to that, but we want to make sure that everybody has had a chance to ask questions who wants to.
Sure.
And anybody out there? Okay, maybe we're good on that. Let me do a couple of announcements first, and then we'll share some wins. Okay, Randy? And if you think of a question, go ahead and chat it in. We'll pick it up. But let's see. Our next Indie Bridge event is ARC and the Tone Scale, which will be Saturday, May 13th, 2023. Same time, same channel, 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, again on Zoom. And let's see here. Next, let's see, tomorrow we have on the Indie Bridge Facebook page, which you can come and join if you like. Just answer a couple questions, we'll pop you right in there. We're going to have our 4th tape in a series of tapes by David Mayo that were done in 1984, and they have a lot of information relevant to Scientology, independence, and our relationship with the Church of Scientology that are still going on today. But we offer a transcript and a glossary to go along with it, because he does mention a few technical terms. But that will be out tomorrow. David Mayo's Sunday Talk tomorrow on Sunday at the Indie Bridge Facebook page. Okay, Randy, that's it for my announcements, but let's have some wins.
Great.
Who's got some wins to share? Yeah.
Tony, would you like to share some wins? Tony is up in Washington State, and he recently finished OT5, and now he's doing great on OT6, the Solo Knots course, and he's had lots of wins. Would you like to share some, Tony?
Sure. So I call it first Trey and then Randy has dragged me kicking and fighting all the way through every possible giant mountain barrier I could think of I've had. And I am at the point of starting to audit solo, which is this huge, important goal I've had. And it works. I find that one of the things that happened with me, a peculiarity, is the idea of cramming sounded like a death sentence or something. And it isn't. It's, oh, you go very fast through the tech and you might miss some doing this, and you go over that and get it straight or misunderstood or something and get right back in, and that clears that up and you do better yet. How's that?
Great.
Fantastic.
You've also had wins, your dynamics opening up, I think.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit. First through 8, minor details. But no. Yeah, family has gotten together, and each one of the members are very high ARC with me. A couple of them still won't talk to each other, but no problem with me. And I think something that I'm coming into is something that I've admired in Trey and Randy and even Mary and Jerry, is by becoming operational Satan, the process of cleaning up the junk, people around just get better in the environment. They just get calmer and happier and smoother, and life goes on better. Wow. And
yes.
I'm noticing that. So yeah. What else, Randy?
Oh, those are great. Those are great.
Randy, I've got one. I've got one.
Yeah, Mary, go ahead.
Okay. Speaking of training and the gains you get from training, I was drilling something the other day. And when you practice doing questions or commands, you usually do this on a doll, right? You usually set a doll in front of you and go through all the motions of an actual session. Well, I didn't have a doll, but I had this sticker of Stitch, from Disney, the little blue creature from the little blue alien. So I stuck that sticker up there and I was drilling this process, and it was amazing. I had such amazing wins on it. I just started laughing, and then I realized I'd blown some charge on myself just by drilling this thing. And I tell you more, but it's OT stuff and it's confidential, so I can't tell you. But I laugh even now thinking about it. It was so great. I couldn't get back into. See, these are OT problems. You can't go back into session for 2 days because you're so blown out. You're so exterior. But it was a wonderful thing. But I was just drilling something. It was, yeah. So just training can give you wonderful, wonderful wins, just like auditing, just like receiving auditing.
That's great. Very good.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
let's open it up to anybody else that would like to share wins from applying the tech in their environment, Trey.
I think I'm unmuted.
No, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I applied to tech last 3 weeks, and I sorry, it's very dark here, and you cannot see me. So I applied for singing. I sang kind of good, but I never, did it well. And first, I started to clear my words, like what is music, what is like notes or something like that. So I cleared all the stuff. And then when I started to do some music on piano, actually I was just doing some notes and making voice the same tone, right? And I cleared myself, like some maybe incidents or some bad emotion which is connected to this particular tone. And for example, the process like repeatable word, yeah, like for example, like mother, and you get rid of something. I did it for piano, and then I just realized that I didn't have any problem with music. I had problem with expression, and I actually did some self-auditing, and I feel very good now about my expression. I mean, not perfect, but I leveled up about it. So that's my best win for this couple of weeks.
Very good.
Awesome.
Nice win. Beautiful.
Great.
Thank you
That's
so
a
much.
nice win,
Thank
Olga.
you.
Listen, I have a win here. It's in chat, and if you don't mind, I'll just read it. It's from Ankit. He says, I have just a few sessions in auditing, and I've been getting many manifestations from, I don't know what that is, but something reached its destination an hour and 10 minutes early. And then he says, expecting someone to reply to your message, and suddenly the message arrives, the message comes. And he says many, many more such things have been occurring. And he says many such things have been happening on a daily basis. And my memories of being as small as 1 year old are now clear. And it seems like it just happened just now. So he's having very real memories occur to him, which is wonderful.
Very
Thanks,
nice.
Kit.
Yes, very good.
Okay. All right. Well, are there any more wins? Any more? Yeah, Trey, go for it.
My wins have been observing that there's a lot more activity in the environment of people having wins, getting started doing things. I mean, going back to Jerry, just starting to audit and becoming so successful, and then Sue just gave a brilliant analysis of how to establish yourself in a country, just not even her native country or native language. I mean, it just was so spot on. And I also wanted to give an acknowledgement to Lucia, who's joining us. And she just gave a very successful communication seminar to a business down in her hometown. And I just, she sent me a little video of it, and boy, the people were so happy, and what a great win. And
Nice.
this is the kind of new new activity. And just in the last month, I've had 5 brand new people gave them their first session. They had good wins, and they all rescheduled. So it gives us a lot of hope for the future.
Yes, very
Awesome.
good. Yeah.
That's great. Anybody else with a tech win or course completion? Anything? Well, all right. I'll have to say that that's it for this meeting then. And I want to thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time for the ARC and the tone scale. Yes. And hopefully on the Indie Bridge Facebook page, we have nice conversations, and David Mayo's tape number 4 is coming up. We have 3 previous ones. So if you haven't heard them or seen them, you got to catch up. They're really good. And thank you again for everyone, for our panelists and for our speakers and our guests. We really appreciate you being here. Hope to see you again.
Great.
Great
See you
to
all
see
next
Bye,
time.
everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Shall we end up on the meeting? There we go.
Yes.